Hey guys, it's Jay, and this is Cos-Say. That's Cossay, and I'm here with maxhallow today. Um, he's got some really good cosplays. He does a really good Deku, really good Toga, and as you can obviously see, a really good Todoroki. Today I'm just gonna be asking him some questions, you know, because that's what I do, and yeah. So let's start off with my favorite question. What's your favorite part about being a cosplayer?
Um, Probably the interactions. So I have some really, really good interactions with people that I would have never had if I didn't start cosplaying. And like just going to cons and having like the ability to be social with people that are into the same things as you are and just have a purely good time. Like it's like you're not afraid, to go to a con and just like nerd out and talk to people and strangers that you've never talked to before. Everybody just gets along so well. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Do you have any examples of some like really memorable experiences?
um, it's always kids. So it's always kids that are really cute. Like at NYC, I was dressed up as Deku, and I was walking like through the hall, like to get to my booth, and it was a really young boy. Like he looked like he was probably only 4 or something like that, maybe 5. And like they get so excited, they're like, "Oh my god, Dad, it's Deku, it's Deku, can I see you?" Like Deku, and like he started talking to me about how Bakugo's his favorite, and he wants to be a superhero, and like you kneel down with them, and you're just like, it's like working at Disney World. And I have so many other things too, like um, of another girl like walking by. It's like everybody loves like Bakugo, and it's like such a crazy thing because he's like always like he's put as such as like you know intimidating, like really full upfront in your face character, but the kids love him. So I had like a girl kind of like run up to me and like like begged her down and be like, "Oh my gosh, like it's Bakugo, look at him, look at like it's my favorite superhero," and like come up and be like, "You're my favorite," and like it's just like there's so many like that. That's just the best moments like ever because they really look at you like like you're their hero, and that's like the best thing in the world.
That's so cute. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it is. It really is.
So I know you get asked this question a lot, and I know that you probably answered it on your live stream, but like what got you into cosplay?
Okay. Now we'll be on record, so nobody can
Yeah.
ask me.
Now you can just be like, hey, here's the link to that video if you want to know
Right,
everything.
right. um, it's a pretty simple explanation. It's just a lot of us got into anime when we were younger, through Netflix or Toonami and things like that, like on TV. So I was into a certain anime show called Black Butler. Like, as a kid, that was my first anime. And I was on Google and I came across these people wearing exact replicas like of cosplays from the show, and I clicked on it and it took me to a costume website like to buy it. I
Dang.
was like, you can buy these things. And then I like searched the word and all these other photos came up, and I was really big into like role playing, like text role playing as a kid. Like I was like the nerd that would stay up until like 5 a.m. like role playing with people that didn't know me, just like and they would like start telling me about like conventions, and I was like, what is that? So eventually I kind of just like started like going to Goodwill and like pieced together a Girl Sutcliffe costume like out of like whatever I could find, and I just like went to the con for the first time and I never looked back.
How do you think that like cosplay in total, like the conventions, the experiences, all of it has impacted you?
Well, I probably wouldn't even be who I am now without that stuff. Like I'd probably be a completely different person. So I was always like an art major like as a kid, and that's what I did my whole life. Um, but like anime and like conventions really steered me more into like theater art and just like special effects and like makeup wise. So without it, I could probably just see myself being a little more lost and kind of trying to figure out something more of like fine arts. But with cosplay now. I'm just sitting at home putting wigs on, like doing makeup, like like body art, and it's just like really really cool to like transform yourself into like somebody else, and like I'd be way different without this. It's so different. It's probably defined my entire personality.
This is a pretty generic question, but
Mm-hmm.
what makes you different from other cosplayers? Like, what do you feel makes you different?
I've never heard that question before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the first time for me of hearing that question. And I honestly don't know. And I think like the only thing I could ever say is just like everybody's so unique in their own personality and their style of art and the way that they do things. Like you can't ever just put like two Todoroki cosplayers together and be like they're exactly the same. So I think like it's just in the finer details and not like, oh well, I do this, so that's why I'm different. Yeah, everybody's just like so unique in their own way that nobody can ever really be compared.
That's actually a really great answer.
Thanks.
I'm like throwing really tough questions at you right now. Just
I'm working through it. I'm working through it.
you doing good? So you were talking about some conventions. Do you like them? How often do you go?
I go a lot. I usually do a couple every year. So there's always like one or two in summer, and it's like usually one or two in like fall/spring. I'm just starting to pick up more conventions now, just because it used to be like TikTok kind of blew everything up. I'll be honest, and the demand has been a little bit more like than I've ever experienced. So I've kind of had more of this drive to go to more cons and to travel more and things like that. So there's definitely a lot more cons that I'm going to lately. So like I'll be at home at, and that's the first time I'm going to that one. And I plan to go to more like Anime Expo and like just travel more. So
It's really awesome.
A lot more cons.
Yeah, cosplay and conventions are pretty expensive, aren't they? What's the most you've ever spent on going to a convention or on a cosplay? That hurt.
Just like zoom in like on all of our faces, like really like well it's like God, it's probably a couple thousand. Just because like the cosplays themselves, like depending on the cosplay I do, like most of my suits and stuff like that, like they go into they go I'll be honest, they are expensive, but I just like I love what I do so much that I try to put the highest quality of everything into all of my work. So like my Todoroki suit was like a couple hundred, and then I'm not even done with it, so there's all the props that I still have to make and all the pieces that I have to buy to put that together. So it's just, and then there's the wig, and then there's going to Sephora and Ulta and buying all the makeup for it, and then like con expenses can like range so much. Like I think NYC was probably the most expensive. I was brought out there, so I was lucky in a sense that I didn't have to pay for exactly everything, because it was more like a sponsored trip. But there were definitely like, if I didn't look out for that, it would have been the most expensive con I've ever gone to. Because there's the plane ticket, there's going on Lyft, which from the airport to the hotel was like $70 or something like that. Just to, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not cheap. Luckily, we were really close to the convention center, so we could just walk there. And it's like super easy to walk around New York and like to get to where you need to go. But if I had to drive, it would have been like another like couple $20 every couple days, like because of gas and stuff like that. There's the food. I'm trying to figure that out because convention food is never cheap. It's always a pretty penny. There's what you want to buy there, because of course you're going to these cons and you want to bring back memories with you.
Yeah.
So there's also figuring all of that out and expenses towards that. So there's the con pass itself, depending how many days you go. Usually I go 4 days to every con I go to, and that's usually like an $80 ticket, $60, $70, $80 every time. Unless you buy like a whole year in advance. So like the bills for cosplayers rack up so quick. Like you think you're like, you know what? I'm gonna budget this cosplay, and I'm only gonna spend this much, and it's gonna be the cheapest costume I do. But it's really like goes from being here to like, oh well, that. And it's because you don't know what to expect. Like sometimes things happen while you're building a costume, like or preparing for a con. You know, like it's so unexpected. Like I had things like happen at NYC, and I was like, well, now I gotta go to CVS.
What exactly happened?
My piercings were fairly new, and the weather was extremely like different than what I was used to, and somewhere along the line, I ran into some bacteria issues. So my piercing swelled up on one side. Yeah. Saturday morning. Oh god. So nobody else that follows me like knows this. Like this is the first time I'm like really like telling everybody what happened, but like I woke up and my whole half of lip was like and I was like feeling super sick and ill, and I was just like, great, I have to get into Deku. And so I had to like call in prescriptions from my doctor's office that are here all the way through to New York and apply through a CVS up there and wait around in the CVS for like an hour or two that morning. And then I had to get the pills and like hope everything works, and I had to get like supplies to clean it and everything. And then I had to go like back to the hotel room, wait around and do all of that, and like figure out food while I was there because it was already like the afternoon. So and then like luckily I was really lucky and things got better quick. But it definitely set me back at the day of the con. And that's why I was so late. So like to everybody that went and was like, where is he? Sorry. But yeah, like even things like that like can be so unexpected, and then the bills just like rack up. So you're like, great.
Yeah. Do you think that cosplaying's worth it? Like in your opinion, like, well, obviously you think it's worth it, but like why is it worth it for you?
I think I was trying to say that it's like just really important to me in a sense of just freedom of expression, and like I've always just like had this like energy of conveying like creativity. And creativity and art has just been my entire life. So to me, in a sense, this is like my art. And when people view art, it's like their way of like talking. Like when you go to museums and all that, it's just never just like a painting on a wall. There's always like a message and a meaning behind it, and that's kind of how they convey their thoughts like to the world and to the people that they're talking to. So in a way, like cosplay is that for me. So it's just really about this other side that I get to express that I wouldn't be able to express if I didn't have this like form of outlet, you know?
This might be a touchy subject, but I know that you were recently on hiatus because of mental health. Do you have anything to say to other people struggling with like those issues, especially in cosplay? Because I know some people get backlash for actually going on hiatus.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does, because people are always kind of like, well, where are you? And, like, I expect this from you and I expect that, but, like, we're all human. So we're not, like, a lot of people will be like, oh my god, you're so canon, you're the character from the screen. And I'm like, well, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I act that way when I put on, the costume, because it's like theater. You go and you do the show, and then when you walk off, you're you. So it's like everybody goes through these things, like even if they admit it or not, like there's always going to be like points in your life where you hit low, um, but that doesn't mean it's the end, you know, like it never is, as long as you keep going and keep telling yourself that you can do it and you're not worthless. So because I know that's what a lot of people feel these days, like a lot of people will like drag themselves down in comments and stuff like that and be like, I'll never be as good as you. Like I feel like I can't be like a cosplayer because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, it's kind of heartbreaking to hear that stuff, because when I was younger, when I first started all those years ago, cosplay was so different. It really was. Um, there wasn't all these TV shows of like people going on stage and competing and looking perfect, and like all these cosplayers on Instagram, like, you know, just posting their best photos of themselves, you know, and trying to be the most canon and most accurate and like dismissing anybody who isn't. So that's always just been so like, you know, it makes me mad. It does. uh, because like people feel like they can't anymore, and it's just a form of art.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who used to do paintings and be like, oh well, you can't do fine art and like realism, so you're not a real artist. Like what about like graphic design, people who do animation, or like people who draw freaking shapes, like they draw a dot on a board and it's like art. And you know what, it is because every single piece has a message, everything is meaningful, so people need to look at themselves like they are meaningful. And yeah, I did go through some really bad shit this past week, and I'll be honest, I lost some people. Like some people who I thought who were really close to me, and like I did go through a time where I felt like super down and super worthless, and like there's no getting back up like in certain points, like, but I listened to past self and thinking about how, okay, if I wasn't in this situation right now, like if I wasn't like how I feel right now, and I was in a better position where I was a couple months ago, what would I tell myself to pick myself back up? And it's like, you really just have to think about that. It's like, it's never going to be the end. It never is. And you can't let it be the end, you know, because everybody's worth, you know, everybody has worth. So no matter how much of a jerk somebody made me, so even like people who I just cross paths with and it's like not a good vibe anymore, like I'm always going to respect them in the end. And I'm never going to tell someone they're worthless because they're not, you know. So
dude, that's really,
I can go on and on and on. Like,
no, it's cool. It's really inspirational, and I really love hearing cosplayers talk about the things that they're most passionate about, especially like you guys have so much to say about other people, and it's so positive, and it's so beautiful to see how you view the people around you, because not a lot of people have that view anymore. And I feel like that's just a common thread between you guys.
A lot of people these days, like, there's a lot of competition in the cosplay community. A lot of people, some people like get to them and feel threatened by another cosplayer's presence. Like, oh, you know, like they're good, so you know, I feel threatened by them because of how good they are. I'm like, well, that's just like a toxic way of looking at things. So just like how it is a toxic way to maybe not like somebody in the community, or like have a grudge or like a bad fallout or whatever it is, but like you can't let it get to you. So because like this is really cheesy, but you know, like you only live once. Like it really is like a straight message. You only live once, and like to let yourself fall so hard to the point where all you think about is negativity and hate and like anger at these people, like you're letting yourself go. You know, like you're letting who you were go, and you can't let people do that to you. You know, like it's kind of like letting yourself be like don't let yourself fall and don't let yourself get too egotistical, but keep yourself out of balance with everybody else, you know, because we're all human in the end. So this is that's like how we should all like really be looking at it.
Yeah. Now we just like fell into this like deep inspirational thing. Let's do like a pick me up. Let's do a pick me up. Do you got anything like you want to say to anybody, to any like specific person or to a group? Like I asked Oddcat last week what she had to say to new cosplayers or old cosplayers. Do you have anything to say to anybody?
to anybody.
Yeah, to anybody. You can talk to anybody.
I've really talked to the community on TikTok, like not just like the famous people and all the people that I'm friends with, but literally like everybody who cosplays on that community. So even people who follow me and like I don't know anything about them, just like the entire community. Like I am so grateful for like all of them. Like every single he likes to interrupt me. But I am like so grateful for everybody because like it's such a different community than Instagram. It really is. It really is. I've never experienced like a kind of app that lets us interact with people on different levels of us, like who we thought would have been like higher than us. It kind of brings everybody to this equal ground, and all of them just really embrace it and enjoy it, and it's really, really just positive and such good community. Really is. Like you get the negative pods here and there, but for the majority of it all, everybody loves each other and everybody talks to each other, and it's like this big social network that would have never existed if TikTok and like the cosplayers didn't start growing on this app. You know, because like it's not like on Instagram where you post a photo and you try to comment, you try to reach out to somebody. On TikTok, it's like you can just duet whoever you want. If your settings open, like, and people who have duetted me, like I'll like start socializing with them, like, and it's just like such a good energy throughout this entire app. Like it really is.
That's really cool.
So I thank all of them, you know, for all of that. So, because I've met and made so many friends and met so many people, and I don't think I would have, like, if it wasn't for this app.
Aww. That's really awesome. That's like all the questions I have. But do you want to plug your social media so that people can follow you if they're not already doing that?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? So my social media across everything is going to be named maxhallow, maxhallow. On Instagram, there's a dot in between the two names, but on TikTok, it's just the full name itself. You can find me on any platform as maxhallow.
Yeah, it'll also be down below in the description or literally anywhere that I post the link to this video, because trying to get watches, that'd be great. But yeah.
I'll totally shout you out too, of course.
Thanks! Oh, I love that. Honestly, I got so many positive comments last week. Okay, by so many, I mean like 3. But it felt so good,
but
and
it's positive. It still is. It still means something.
Thanks. I just really want people to know how hard you guys work, because you guys do a lot, and a lot goes into it, and so I feel like you guys
staying up until 5 a.m. like.
Yeah, you think we don't notice you posting content at crackhead hours in the morning, like, or just putting together cosplays that early?
When Davi like broke my thumb, like I was like, yeah. I feel like all of my followers know that on my story. I was like, oh guys, my thumb's gone. But it's moments like that that are fun and like let people into your like personal life and like connect with you. So I'm like, yeah, my thumb's bleeding, but woo.
All right. So I'm just gonna tell everybody: like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of that. I honestly really love maxhallow, one of my favorite cosplayers.
You know what? I love you too, man. This is a good chat.
Thanks. I'm really glad that you agreed to do this.
I'm gonna have to get your tag and your Instagram and stuff like that.
Do it. Yeah. I forgot. Did I email you? I emailed you. I will.
Yeah. I'm gonna check everything again.
Cool. I'll send it over Skype if you want.
I'm gonna contact you and be like, you better give me your Instagram. Like.
Yeah, for sure. It was really great talking to you. I'm gonna